Welcome back to Fast Market here on the Schwab Network. It's time for our cash tag segment. For that, let's bring in Megan Brantley, Vice President of Research at Likefolio. Welcome back to the show, Megan. Happy Friday.
Thanks for having me, guys. Happy Friday.
All right, so we're talking Adobe. This is one that we don't, really talk to you guys that much about it, but you guys have some data on it. Stocks rallied over 50% so far this year. It seems like it's gotten up in that AI hype. The applications that they're going to be able to use in their cloud-based software service for AI seems to be one of those companies that might be able to monetize it quicker than a lot of the others. What kind of data do you have on the stock?
Yeah, so whenever we look at Adobe, I think you're right. I think it has been lifted by some AI tailwinds, and I think that this is rightfully so. Whenever we look at our metrics, we can look at mention volume, we can look at demand, we can look at sentiment, and we see those levels trending in a positive direction. We also see sentiment levels pretty high. And part of that is because Adobe really is leaning into AI, and I think it's trying to position itself as the commercially safe AI for users. And so how it's doing that, one that we're tracking is Adobe Firefly, and this is kind of that text prompt to edit images, now text prompt to edit videos. And whenever we look at mentions on social media, users are sharing these really powerful things that they've created using this technology. And so I think that it was definitely smart of Adobe to lean in here, because before, part of its appeal to users is that this was the only software that could accomplish the things that it accomplished. But with AI, you have a lot of potential disruption. So it was really important that Adobe came to play. And you can see here, this is just overall consumer buzz. You can see that up on a quarter-over-quarter and a year-over-year basis. So we do see some rising buzz, a lot of that tied to its AI features, and especially getting some buzz after its Max event that was last week.
Megan, when you read about their Firefly AI and what AI is doing for their ability to customize their product to different audiences, this seems like the most common sense application of AI out there, right? Because it's literally, they have their marketing, and then once you find out what your interests are, the AI switches that marketing to that person. So one of the problems for Adobe lately is their growth had slowed from 20% to 10%. This could reignite their growth, and maybe that's why, other than the last week or so, the stock has done pretty well. But this seems, in my opinion, and I'm just a meathead looking at this, like the most common sense application of AI, Megan.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think that they're approaching it from a really smart and safe way. They're making users feel like this is the safe way for them to kind of leverage and publish AI-generated images and videos and things of that nature. We see that reflected in sentiment. Adobe's overall sentiment levels are around 77% positive, which is really high, at least for us in the software sector. Another area where we're seeing traction are in these web visits. So consumers who are going to Adobe's website to discover what tools they have, we're starting to see an uptick and an acceleration there. And you can see this on that chart that, we started to see some traction earlier this summer whenever, they were announcing these new AI features. But now you see a really significant uptick on the far right here. That's up by about 20% year over year and 20% quarter over quarter. And a lot of that is being driven by the interest in that Adobe Firefly and also Adobe Sensei. We're starting to see an uptick in that Adobe Experience Manager. So if you think about, managing advertising and marketing campaigns and being able to change images to fit the consumer that you're trying to target, like you said, I think it's a really common sense application, and Adobe so far is leaning into it well.
Yeah, Megan, I was looking at one of the charts you guys sent over, the mentions count on this, the 90-day change quarter over quarter. If you look at the stock price, it's had a good run. It's just below its 52-week highs here. Now, a lot of the growth portion of this, as Kevin mentioned, it's based out in 2024 or 2025, where the total addressable market is supposed to grow as more people get comfortable using AI. Is this thing overbought according to your data, or would you guys give this a neutral type score? Because it seems like the stock price is just below some of the trending data.
Yeah, so in the near term, our score does trend a little bit neutral. I would say it's on the higher range, though. We also have a long-term trend score, and this score for Adobe definitely leans bullish, and a lot of that has to do with the AI tailwinds and the growth and we're seeing in these new brands and these new capabilities that seems to be driving Adobe higher. So I think for us, this move definitely seems justified in the traction that we're seeing from consumers and those web visits, like I mentioned in the buzz, like I mentioned in those high levels of happiness. But I think long term, the AI potential could be really powerful for Adobe, especially since it's already proven itself as such a leader in this space in generative images and videos and things of that nature. It seems like a natural fit here.
All right, great stuff, great data as always, Megan. Appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.
All right, have a great weekend. That's Megan Brantley, Vice President of Research at Likefolio, breaking down the data for us. Kevin, I mentioned that we usually don't, we'll have them talk about, consumer names, but they cover a lot of tech here. NVIDIA, this name, Adobe, they've got some really good data on it. What's your take here on